everyone, I'm Lady Teddy. I'm going to be reading to you guys out from a... Sorry, I'm coming off from a stream, so I'm a little spacey right now. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to be reading to you guys from Magium, which is a text-based adventure game that's choose your own adventure, so you can make different choices throughout the game. It is an app. It's free for both iOS and Android, so I would recommend it to anyone who is interested in this sort of game. It's really, really cool. I have a lot of respect for the author. And there's a lot of different paths you could take throughout the story. There's evil, good, smart, brawny, or I think that the official name for that path is Hulkberry. The main character's name is Barry. For anyone wondering why I'm wearing cat ears right now, someone, Marshming, redeemed my cat ears redeem, so I'm going to wear these for 10 minutes or until I remember to take them off. Doesn't really matter, I don't mind wearing them. And currently, what we're doing right now is we are achievement hunting through the first book, because in order to get to the second book, you need, I think it's like 25 achievements. Yeah, so the way I'm going to do this is, I know a lot of people just like listening to my voice and falling asleep, so if people just want to relax, there's no pressure to participate. But whenever I get to choices, I'm going to give everyone probably about a minute to provide input if they would like to participate. Otherwise, I'll make my own choice. I do vaguely remember how to get some of these achievements, but not specifically, so we might be going through this a couple different times. No pressure. Yeah, so without further ado, and why isn't it showing up? Oh, there it goes. Cool. If anyone has any questions, I know that it's starting in the middle of the story, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to provide context. But again, right now we're just achievement hunting. We're not trying to go for any specific character path. And based on stats, some of these will not be possible. So, again, here we are. So achievements for book 1. Only need one more achievement to get to the second book. And since it's chapter 6, we've already got one, which is defeat Tyrath, who is the dragon. Won a duel against Tyrath, the king of all dragons. Then there's Berserker mode activated, accidentally maximize all of your stats in a fit of rage. Full immersion, experience what your in-game character sees firsthand. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes. Okay. So, return to game. There's stats and stuff that you can get throughout the game. So here are the stats currently with available points. I'm going to leave those be for now. And yeah. Whenever I'm about to start reading, my mouth always suddenly feels very dry. Okay, here we go. So what just happened? We're starting off, the party is traveling and then a dragon appeared out of nowhere and started attacking the party, and they did all of their defenses and everything, but they're basically about to be beaten, and then right before the fiery breath almost killed everyone, they suddenly decided, time stopped for everyone except for Barry and Eden, who is a probably chaotic evil, maybe chaotic neutral, but chaotic evil, who's tried to kill them a couple times and then decided, nah, on a whim. And he's basically what he said is, now how could I let Tyrath win when he just did it such an overly dramatic speech like that? So that's why he stopped time, to give him power. And then Good, then maybe you can finish off that dragon for us. No, Barry, you are going to finish off that dragon. Eden snaps his fingers and my stat device flies out of my hand and into his. The device then suddenly starts glowing and it looks like it's accumulating a massive amount of energy in a very short amount of time. Hey! I realize this all must be very confusing for you, Barry, so I'm going to provide you with a little bit of context. The beast that just attacked you is Tyrath, the self-proclaimed king of all dragons. The reason he is looking for me is because I wrote a message in the stars last night in an ancient language used primarily by dragon hunters. The message's purpose was to let all dragon hunters who entered this contest know that a dragon exists on this island, and to give them a little extra incentive to hunt him down. I very much doubt that any of them will pose a realistic threat to him, but it will be fun to watch. He finishes charging up my stat device and then hands it back to me. As I hold my hand, I can feel a powerful surge of magical energy run through me and flow through all of my body. I believe your ultimate goal was to win this tournament and become a mage, was it not? Well, Barry, I am now giving you a taste of that power. For about 5 minutes, you will have magical powers comparable to mine. More than enough to drive off the dragon, I'd wager. All of the information you need in order to use your powers should have been transferred into your mind by the stat device. I'm looking forward to watching your battle. Eden then starts to fade into thin air. When only his outline is visible anymore, he says, "Oh, and I'd recommend starting with the magical barrier. Your friends don't seem to be doing very well." People don't read more books before? It's just technology. Yes, it's an app. If you'd like to download it yourself, it's very good. It's free. As Eden vanishes completely, time is slowly starting to resume its course. I take the Stillwater's advice and quickly conjure a protective barrier around Kate and Darren. It's amazing how natural this is feeling. It's as if I've been casting spells my entire life. Is this really the true power of my stat device? Just as I finish casting my spell, time unfreezes itself and the dragon's fire hits my magical barrier head-on. The flames then disperse into the air while Kate looks around her, shocked at the discovery of the newly formed barrier protecting her. "Darren, did you?" "No, it wasn't me. This barrier is leagues stronger than anything I could ever conjure. I don't know who did this." "You," the dragon Tyrath shows from high above in the sky while pointing at me. "You did this. It does not matter. All you've managed to achieve is to make yourself my next target. Prepare to die." I conjure another protective barrier around me and rose just in time to defend us from the incoming flames. My barrier is holding up much better than Darren's. There's no sign of it breaking anytime soon, and I'm barely even feeling the heat outside of it. The question is, what am I going to do now? Looking at my stat device, I can see that my stats have remained exactly the same, and I have no extra available points. So then, what did Eden do to it? I'll need to figure this out later. At any rate, judging by the amount of extra energy I can sense in the stat device and the speed at which it's getting consumed, I'd say that I'd say that the estimate Eden gave me is spot on. I have less than 5 minutes to finish this fight, but even with all of this magical power, the dragon may well pulverize me in a one-on-one fight if I don't do this just right. Both Darren and Kate are too exhausted to assist me, so I'm on my own for the time being. Even as I'm standing here thinking, time is running out, but can I afford to just start fighting without any plan whatsoever? No time to think, I'll improvise, make a plan before engaging the dragon. So once again, the achievement that we are hunting right now is Berserker Mode activated. Accidentally maximize all of your stats in a fit of rage. Okay, so I will give you all about a minute to decide, and if no one says anything, then I will make a decision. Oh, I forgot to turn off the music. Honestly, I remember some of the choices that are needed to be made, but I don't remember which of these specifically, so yeah, let's go with improvise. Having all of these powers means nothing if I just sit here and let them go to waste. I'm going to have to improvise. First things first, I need to get out of this barrier without being burnt to a crisp. I cast a spell to protect myself from fire, and then a spell that enables flight. I fly out of the barrier and right through the scorching flames. It feels as if I were in an oven, but at least I'm not getting any visible burns. The dragon sees me fly through his fire and lets out an intimidating roar. I position myself at the same level of height as him, a few dozen feet from where he's hovering, and I stop in midair. Let's try acid first. I make a ball of acid and send it flying towards the dragon. Tyrath claps his wings together, which generates a strong gust of wind that scatters the acid and sends me spinning backwards. That disoriented me a bit, so it took me a few seconds to figure out where the dragon went. Once I locate him, I send a powerful jet of water in his direction. The dragon gets pushed back by the force of the impact, but aside from that, it does not look like he took any damage. Observation check failed level 4. Premonition check failed level 4. Reflexes check failed level 4. I shoot a bolt of lightning at him, which hits him head-on, although it doesn't seem to have affected him in any way. Suddenly, the dragon in front of me disappears, and a different dragon appears behind me. Tyrath quickly whips his tail towards me and grabs me with it. The force with which he is gripping me is suffocating. What is this? What just happened? Was that an illusion? You're not the only one that can cast magic, human, the dragon says. The force of his tail's grip is so strong that I can feel it crushing my internal organs. As I cough up some blood, I can feel my vision starting to blur. The last thing I see is the dragon's hideous face as he laughs triumphantly. Load. I believe it was this one. Alright, so let's go with making a plan then. Going in without a plan would be suicidal. I'll just have to use this time as efficiently as I can. First of all, I need to think about my defenses. I now have access to dozens of powerful protection spells, but it would take me 3 minutes to cast all of them. Even if I used the time freezing spell Eden cast just now, that would simply save me about 2 minutes, and I'll become unable to use the spell for the remainder of the battle. Then again, the time-stopping spell isn't really suited for combat since the spell breaks as soon as I move a few feet or interact with anyone who's frozen. So this may well be the best time to use it. Or maybe I should try to limit casting to only what is absolutely necessary? Let's see. The one thing I'll need most is protection from fire. I can't just spend my whole fight trapped inside this barrier, and this spell will grant me some immunity from flames. It'll still feel like I'm in an oven, but at least I won't be burnt to a crisp. Aside from that, judging by how I've seen the dragon fight so far, I think I could also use some protection from physical damage to defend me from his claw attacks. It won't be enough to stop him from killing me if he lands a strike, but maybe it'll help me deflect some of his hits? The strong wind he can generate with his wings might also be a problem. It felt like I was trying to fight a hurricane when the dragon first made his appearance, so I guess I could also use some spells that give me protection from wind. Other than that, it's anyone's guess. It is said that some of the older dragons can cast magic, but I do not know if Tyrath is one of them. More than that, I have no way of knowing which kinds of magic he'd be specialized in. I'm going to have to decide which protection spells I cast in the limited time I have at my disposal. Cast just protection from fire, no time for anything else. Cast protection from fire, wind, and physical damage. Freeze time, then cast all of the protection spells I know, just to be sure. I killed Barry, never picking again. Irish poo hair. Okay, so I'm very sorry, I lied. I think I need to sleep, so I'm gonna head off to bed, but thank you so much for the stream, and I will probably fall asleep to this. Well, again, Irish poo hair, thank you so much for the raid, thank you so much for hanging out, and you didn't lie, you're still hanging out, and yeah, if you need to sleep, thank you for taking care of yourself, get some rest. Sweet dreams. If anyone would like to help influence this decision, I'm going to give you guys about a minute. If not, I'll make a decision based on my vague memories. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one then. The dragon sees that his fire breath isn't working, so he tries to dive in again. My barrier is too strong to be broken as easily as Darren's though, so he'll be busy for a while. Now that I've established my defensive strategy, I need to think about offense. With the spells I have access to now, I have almost limitless choices, but I'll have to think of a tactic that can defeat Tyrath in the few minutes that I have left. I'm going to definitely need to cast a flight spell on myself since it will be too difficult to engage the dragon otherwise. The thing I'm lacking the most of here is information about my enemy. All I have to go on are legends and fairy tales, and I'm not sure how much I can rely on any of them in this situation. One thing that most legends agree on is that dragons have a high elemental resistance to fire, and that they are immune to mind-affecting spells and illusions. Other than that, I have no ideas which spells would work the best. I already know that Kate's ice didn't really hurt the dragon, but maybe water would be a better choice? Water is, after all, the opposing element to fire. Actually, forget water. If I'm going to try elemental magic, I may as well try them all, except fire, of course. Darren's sword seemed to at least be able to get through the dragon's tough scales, but I do not know which enchantments he has on it. Maybe I could persuade him to give me his sword for the duration of this battle, and then I can fight Tyreth head-on? The downside to this plan is that I don't seem to have a strength-enhancing spell in my repertoire, so the power of my swing would depend entirely on my strength stat. Shape-shifting magic is pretty useless in this situation because of two main reasons. First of all, these spells cannot be used to transform into something much bigger than my actual size, so it's not like I can just turn into a dragon and fight Tyreth on equal footing. Secondly, you cannot cast spells while shape-shifting, so my mobility would be greatly reduced because I couldn't teleport. It's just not worth it, and it's just not worth it any way I look at it. Using summoning magic is out of the question as well, since none of these spells were designed to fight an enemy of this caliber. The most any of the summoned creatures could do is moderately inconvenience Tyreth or provide a distraction. Maybe I'm thinking too small of a scale, though. With the powers I have at my disposal right now, I could be doing a lot more damage. I could literally make a tornado out of thin air, or use earth magic to animate a rock giant that would dwarf the dragon, and who could smash him in between its hands. I could also make a blizzard, a lightning storm, a rain of acid, and even a rain of meteorites. The problem with any of these big spells is that it's almost impossible to prevent collateral damage, so I'd be forced to cast a lot of protections on Darren, Kate, Rose, and even myself beforehand to make sure we're all safe, which would take me about a minute. The time freezing spell wouldn't save me much time in this case, since we're relatively far apart from each other, and moving would cancel the time stopping effect. Half a minute of my time is already up. I'll need to decide fast. Use elemental magic, ask Darren for his sword, hit the dragon with big spells. If anyone would like to participate, now is your chance. No pressure. I'll give y'all about a minute. Alright, I actually forgot to look at the thing, but I'm pretty sure that was about a minute. Okay. I start off by freezing time, and then I proceed to cast every single protection spell I know on myself, as well as a flight spell. Next, I head directly for Darren and Kate. Barry, what happened? Darren asks me as I reach them. This magical power rating from you, it's insane. I'm sorry, there's no time to explain, but I think I have enough power to beat the dragon on my own. Can I borrow your sword for a few minutes? Beat the dragon on your own? Barry, I don't... Darren pauses for a bit to think about what I've said. Fine, here's the sword. Just don't do anything too crazy. I take his sword and prepare to fly out of the barrier to face the dragon. Hey, Barry! Darren calls out to me as I turn back to see an unusually serious expression on his face. Good luck. I nod to him as I fly out of the barrier and right through the scorching flames. It feels as if I were in an oven, but at least I'm not getting any visible burns. Tyreth sees me fly out through his fire and lets out a powerful roar. I do not let him intimidate me and lunge at him fiercely with my sword in hand. Strength check failed, level 4. The power of my strike was not enough to break through his armored scales. The dragon immediately swings one of his claws at me and I am forced to teleport away from him. He then claps his wings together, generating a strong gust of wind in an attempt to blow me away from him. But my protection spell from wind makes it seem like a simple breeze. The dragon is now casting an illusion of himself and leaving it behind while he tries to approach me from the right. It's a good thing I already cast a protection from illusions before starting this fight. He can't surprise me like this. I teleport next to the dragon and swing my sword at him. He gets taken by surprise and he teleports away to avoid taking any damage. I don't know how you were able to see through my illusion, human, but I'm not going to take it easy on you anymore. The dragon then breathes fire hotter than ever before towards me. Instinctively, I hold the sword in front of me to defend from his attack. To my surprise, I see that the sword actually absorbs all of the dragon's flames into it, and it's now radiating magical power, looking as though it had been set ablaze. Darren's sword could do something like that? What kind of crazy enchantments are on this thing anyways? Does this mean I can actually now use the dragon's flames as my own? I slash my sword towards the dragon, which sends all of his flames back towards him, concentrated in one powerful beam. It worked! I can't believe it! Let me try and see if it can also absorb other magical elements. I concentrate my magical power on the sword in the form of lightning. I can feel the sword charge up as I finish my spell. I can actually see the electrical current surging through it. As Tyreth flies towards me, I swing my sword at him, which unleashes a powerful lightning attack that hits him head on. That doesn't affect the dragon in the slightest, and when he reaches me, he attacks me with his claws again. I teleport out of his range and try to think fast of what my next move should be. Fire doesn't work, lightning doesn't work, ice doesn't work either, and I don't see how powering this sword with air, water, or earth would do any good. That only leaves acid as an option. But the question is, will the acid get absorbed into the sword like all the other elements, or will it completely melt through the metal? There's only one way to find out. Use acid on the sword, fight with the sword normally. I will give y'all about a minute. You said it was 5 p.m. there. Have a really good rest of your night, Storm. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for following. Welcome to the community. You want to try acid? Alright. It's all or nothing. If we die here, it's not like Darren will need this sword anymore anyways. Let's do this. I cast my acid spell on the sword and watch it slowly turn green as steam starts coming out of it. The sword is now drenching in acid, but the corrosive agent is not eating away at the metal as one would normally expect. Instead, it seems to be empowering it. This sword is definitely an impressive piece of work. If Darren actually had any access to elemental magic, he'd be unstoppable. This is the winning card. This is it. This is the winning card I've been waiting for. The dragon doesn't stand a chance anymore. I teleport next to Tyrath and thrust my blade into his chest. The acid melts through his scales and the sword passes through his tough skin like a hot knife through butter. The dragon starts screaming in pain and he teleports away, shooting flames at me. I block them with my sword, but this replaces the acid effect it had before me with a fire one. So that's how this thing works. I throw the fire back towards Tyrath and cast acid on the sword once more. I teleport next to him again and I strike at him with my acid-empowered sword. He blocks my attack with one of his claws, but the sword still goes through his thick skin. The dragon spends the next minute on the defensive, teleporting away from my attacks and shooting fire at me while I try to anticipate his moves and teleport after him. He manages to dodge most of my attacks, but the few strikes that hit him are causing quite a bit of damage. At this rate, I won't have any trouble finishing him by the time I run out of magic. Suddenly, the whole area gets covered in a blue light, and I'm starting to feel an immense magical power coming from the air all around us. What's happening? Tyrath says, trying to hold back the pain. Has it been so long you've forgotten, old friend? I hear Eden's voice coming from the left. I turn around and see the Stillwater floating in the air next to us, with his usual smile on his face. Eden, the dragon says, just because the traps haven't been activated in more than a millennia does not mean they are out of function. Eden continues, the Lysathi of old were anything but shoddy craftsmen. This trap was just a bit out of tune, that's all. Luckily, your continuous use of flames was just enough to warm it up. As the two of them speak, the ground is shaking violently and the blue light is intensifying. You'll pay for this, both of you. I will not rest until I hunt you down. Now, nowhere on this continent will be safe for you ever again. Do you hear me? I will hunt you down. Wipe that smile off of your face, you low-born little... All of the magic in the air gets unleashed in a single moment, and the dragon gets teleported away as the blue light disappears and the earthquake slowly stops. The energy from my device is gone. I could sense it disappear the moment the dragon was teleported away. Eden turns back to me. Well done, Barry. I'll be honest with you. I was hoping you'd use more spectacular spells in this skirmish, but I cannot blame you for wanting to be efficient. Okay, now that the fight is over, we did not get it, so let's go back. Let's try again. Okay, I'm going to use the sword normally. Strength check failed level 4. I've already decided that I need Darren's sword to win this fight. The risk to lose the blade by casting acid on it is much too great to be worth it. I'm going to have to make this quick. I teleport next to the dragon and thrust my blade into his chest. The sword barely scratches his armored scales, and the dragon takes advantage of my failed attack to swing his right claw at me. I manage to block his strike with my sword, but then he almost immediately whips his tail at me, forcing me to teleport away from him. I spend the next 20 seconds teleporting in and out of the dragon's range, trying to shatter his armored scales, but it's no use. I can't even get close to reaching his skin with my blade. Now Tyrath has gone on the offensive. He's teleporting faster and forcing me to spend my time dodging his attacks instead of looking for openings. I can barely even keep up with him anymore. What the hell am I doing? I'm in control of more magical power than I have ever dreamed would be possible, but I can't hold off a single dragon? Achievement unlocked. Berserker mode activated. I'm starting to get angry. I can feel my body starting to radiate heat. I can even see steam coming out of me. Suddenly, I can feel my speed increase by the tenfold. What kind of spell did I just cast? My stat device never told me I had access to anything like this. I can never lose to anyone ever again. I don't need this sword anymore. As I sheath my sword, I notice that everything seems to be moving much slower all of a sudden. Or am I just the one moving faster? I can predict the dragon's attack before he even teleports in front of me, but I don't feel the need to dodge anymore. Instead, I am simply blocking Tyreth's next claw strike with my left hand. No, the dragon says, dumbfounded. While I keep a grip on him with my left hand, I punch him in the chest with my right fist. The impact of my strike is so strong that I could feel some of his armored scales shatter from the force of my blow. As the dragon gets sent flying more than 20 feet backwards. Tyreth coughs up blood and starts to speak, but I do not let him. I instantly teleport next to him and grab him by the tail. I then throw him into the ground and he collides with the earth. And when he collides with the earth, he creates a huge crater and sends clouds of dust flying in all directions. One more hit should settle this. As I prepare to dash towards Tyreth and deliver the finishing blow, I can feel my powers starting to leave me. No, not now. I was going to finish this. I was winning. I'm nowhere near my 5 minutes limit. How did I expend all of my magical energy in just a few seconds? Was it because of the sudden power-up I got just now? Please, it can't end like this. I just need to deliver one more strike. One more strike is all I need, please. It's too late. I can't even maintain my flight spell anymore. I'm falling. There's no way else I'll survive a fall from this height. Darren and Kate are too far to help me. Is this it for me? After all that's happened, I'm simply going to die pathetically like this? Just before I reach the ground, I suddenly stop in midair, and then I fall flat on my face, from a height of about 3 feet. How did I do that? Did I manage to gather all my last few drops of power in order to save myself? How disappointing, I hear Eden from high above in the sky. How very disappointing, Barry. I was expecting a lot more from you. I didn't give you all of that magical energy just so you could waste it by activating your device's temporary maximized mode. Oh dang, I think I missed it. I'm gonna go back and then I'll finish out this. And Aleem, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Okay, maybe I didn't miss it. I know that this is the moment that I get the other achievement. Might have to try this a couple times. Anyways, I don't know what that means. I didn't activate anything. Why do you keep saving me? If anyone would like to participate, now is your chance. Otherwise, I will pick in about a minute. Aleem, how is your day or night going? Thank you for joining. Okay, so I'm gonna try and go with this one. Yes, got it. Achievement unlocked, full immersion. Okay, so it started at 8, now it's ticking down. Back to what it was. Everything was maxed. Past max, doubled. Which implies that the maximum amount you can get is 8, eventually. I didn't activate anything, Eden sighs. Yes, you did, he says. You're just not aware of it. Take a look at your stat device. You'll understand when you see for yourself. I take the stat device out of my pocket and look at its screen. What am I looking at here exactly? The numbers are all over the place. Every single one of my stats is far exceeding its maximum number. But they're dropping at a very fast rate. Now I understand what happened. I must have accidentally used all of the energy that Eden pumped into my device in order to temporarily maximize all of the stats. That's why it suddenly got so powerful. That's why I didn't recognize the spell. Do you understand now, Barry? The energy I gave you was never meant to be used like that. Magical energy doesn't grow on trees, you know? You should use it with more care. Eden, the dragon says as he gets up and soars into the air again. I've been looking for you. The Stillwater smiles. Tyrath, it feels like it's been a century since I last saw you. Or has it really been that long? I don't remember. Come on, give your old friend a hug. I was going to bait you out using the bodies of your lackeys, but it looks like that is no longer necessary. Today we end this once and for all. Come on now, Tyrath. Don't be so melodramatic. You're ruining our happy reunion. Instead of replying, the dragon blasts Eden with his fire breath. The Stillwater points his finger at the flames from his fire breath. At the flames, and they stop in front of him. He then gestures towards the dragon with his hand, and the flames head back towards Tyrath, hitting him head on. I see you're still up to your old tricks, the dragon says. But I have become a lot more powerful since you left. This won't be like the last time. Tyrath rushes towards Eden, but he teleports behind the dragon and shoots a beam of fire at him. Tyrath shrugs off the flames and breathes his own fire at the Stillwater again. Just like last time, Eden sends the flames back, but this time he also surrounds the dragon with 4 pillars of fire that explode in his face. What is he doing? Doesn't he know that dragons are resistant to fire? Why does he keep attacking him like this? Do you mock me, Stillwater? The Tyrath says. If you don't start fighting back seriously, you're going to be sorry. Eden says nothing, but keeps smiling at the dragon with his eyes closed. He's now flooding the whole sky with flames and teleporting away every time the dragon tries to reach him. They're teleporting after each other so fast I can barely tell what's happening anymore. The whole sky looks like it's on fire as the 2 combatants' vague outlines are occasionally visible through the flames. Suddenly, the whole area gets covered in a blue light, and I'm starting to feel an immense magical power coming from the air around us. What is the meaning of this? The dragon says. Has it been so long since you've forgotten, old friend? Eden says. Just because they haven't been activated in more than a millennia does not mean that these traps are out of function. This one was just a bit out of tune, that's all. So I had to warm it up before it would start working again. You can't mean... Eden's smile widens. The Lysathi have many flaws, but poor craftsmanship is not one of them. Most of the artifacts they built in the old times are still fully functional, after all. As the 2 of them speak, the ground is shaking violently, and the blue light is intensifying. Listen to me, Stillwater. Your little tricks won't last forever. This This won't keep me away for long, and when I get out, you're going to wish you were never born. Do you hear me? Wipe that smile off your face, you low-born little... All of the magic in the air gets unleashed in a single moment, and the dragon gets teleported away as the blue light disappears and the earthquake slowly stops. Eden turns back to me. I hope you won't miss him too much. It'll be a while before we see him again. What did you do to him? Who are the Lasathi? We've already reached the achievements, but I will finish this little scene with Tyrath. So, if someone would like help make a decision, here are your choices. I'll give y'all about a minute. Okay. I'm gonna go with this one. Who are the Lasathi? The Lasathi are the most ancient race on this continent, although the name is a bit hard to remember, so most people prefer to call them simply the Ancients. Their talent at crafting magical artifacts and devices was unmatched for 1,000. Their talent at crafting magical artifacts and devices was unmatched 1,000 years ago, and we still use many of those artifacts to this day. The trap I just triggered was also made by them some 2,000 years ago. It was supposed to get activated at the first sign of flames, but because it's been at least 1,000 years since it was used, its mechanism was a little rusty. That's why I warmed it up with my fire spells. What happened to the dragon then? He was transported to a dragon prison on this island. Since I doubt there's anyone actually guarding it at this point, I imagine he won't have much trouble escaping. But even so, still have to destroy the prison's automatic defenses, and he'll have to travel all the way back here. So it should be at least a few days before he comes back. Eden! Shouts Darren as he comes closer to us. What are you doing here? Wait, I don't understand. Isn't he your friend? Rose asks us. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, but it seems I was mistaken. Eden says, feigning sadness. He then turns to leave. No, wait, don't go. Rose calls out to him. I'm sure Darren didn't mean what he said. I thank you for your kindness, Rose, but I can tell when I'm not wanted. I bid you farewell. He then starts fading away and teleports out of our sight. Or did he? After seeing how well he could mask his presence before, I'm starting to wonder. It's a bit creepy knowing that he could be standing there, invisible and untraceable, listening to everything we say. We really need to find some way to detect these kinds of things. Darren, how could you do this to your friend? That was horrible, Rose says. Yeah, Darren, you should be ashamed of yourself. Calm down, Rose. It's not as simple as that. Ask Kate to freeze the whole area to make sure Eden isn't around anymore. Y'all have about a minute. Okay. I'm gonna go with this one. Kate, could you freeze the whole area around us? I want to make sure that Eden isn't hiding around us invisibly and listening to what we're saying. Kate nods and she sends a powerful wave of freezing magic all around us. The air has suddenly gotten a lot chillier, and all of the trees now look like they're made of crystal. There's no sign of the still water. Even if he got to block Kate's attack, we would still have sensed at least some magical power coming from him if he were still here. I guess he really did just teleport away after all. I don't understand, Rose says. What's gotten into everyone? Eden saved all of our lives. I saw it happen before my eyes. We all would have been dead if not for him. He's the one that gave Barry all of those powers that allowed him to fight the dragon. Why are you all acting like he's our enemy? It's because he is our enemy, Kate tells her bluntly. When we first met him this morning, he tried to kill Darren outright and ultimately decided against it, on a whim. If what you're saying is true and what he really did, and he really did save all of our lives, then I am inclined to believe that that was also a decision he made on a whim. What was the motivation he gave for saving the four of us? Kate's rebuttal made Rose lose a bit of steam. She pauses. He said he couldn't let the dragon win after gloating like a villain from a children's storybook. Well, there you have it. But never mind Eden's intentions. What I'm most interested in knowing is how both of you got to interact with him in the middle of our fight when neither me nor Darren saw him appear until the end of the battle. He froze time, I tell her. Froze time? Darren asks, perplexed. How is that even possible? Beats me. He just snapped his fingers and made time stop for everyone except for me and him. Wait, what about Rose? Kate asks. He said that I was able to resist his spell because I'm a time weaver? Rose answers her. What the hell is a time weaver? Kate says. He didn't tell us. But judging by the name, I'd say it's a person that can use time-altering magic. I tell her. Rose, did you start feeling any different after having withstood Eden's spell? Darren asks her. No, I feel exactly the same as before. I think he was mistaken. I can't have time powers. His spell must have just malfunctioned, that's all. Perhaps you're right, Darren says. At any rate, we should be thankful enough that we somehow managed to make it out of this alive. I've heard stories about how dangerous this place was, but I never imagined that it would be as bad as this. We're all in terrible shape. Here, let me start casting some healing spells. Darren proceeds to heal all of us in turn. When he starts healing Kate, I can clearly see that he's having some difficulty. I'm sorry, Kate, Darren says as he finishes his spell. This is all I can do for you. Your wounds were just too deep to heal completely. Looking at Kate, I can see that Darren has healed most of the damage made by the dragon's fire, but the left side of her face is still lightly scarred. Surprisingly, it does not look bad on her. Kate, after all, never really had a very feminine look to begin with. Her beauty was always more feral in nature, and her newly acquired scars complement it nicely. It's no problem, Kate tells Darren while looking at her face through a mirror of ice. Most people were already calling me a monster after running away when they first saw me. At least now they'll have a legitimate reason for it. Actually doesn't look that bad, more like a tattoo than anything else. Say nothing. Dan, that's ugly. I'd be using a mask from now on if I were you. I've never played this far with this achievement, so I've never played any of these choices. I'm gonna save. Damn, that's ugly. I'd be using a mask from now on if I were you. Careful, Barry, Kate says. After that burn on half of my face, my eyesight's not as good as it once was. No one could blame me if my aim were to fail me in battle, and if one of my ice cones were to end up disfiguring you by accident. The menacing look she has in her eyes is made all the more scary by the newly acquired scars on her face. Hey now, Darren says, let's not forget that we're all friends here. Come on, Rose, it's your turn to get healed. Once Darren finishes healing us all, we waste no more time and resume our journey, in order to avoid meeting any mages or creatures that may have been attracted by the loud sounds of our previous battle. I still don't understand one thing, Barry, Kate tells me as we walk side by side. How did Eden manage to give you all of those powers? As far as I know, transferring powers between mages is impossible without some kind of tool to assist them. Oh, he used my stat device. Okay, I want to go back. Be suave. Because I'm entertained by this. Actually, it doesn't look all that bad. More like a tattoo than anything else. Kate laughs at my comment. A tattoo, huh? She studies her face in the mirror. Yeah, it does. I guess it does kind of look like one. Thank you, Barry. That made me feel a little better. Okay, just skip that. Alright, so that is finishing up the achievement hunting. Which means that... Here, let me make sure that my achievements are... Transfer achievements to the cloud. Transfer saves to the cloud. Checkpoint. For the people who are wondering why I'm doing this, I've had my saves be deleted a couple times. Not since I started using this emulator, but better safe than sorry. Back to cloud menu. Back. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm done. So, quick game. Alright, so, once again, this was Magium, which is a really cool storybook app. And if anyone was interested in that, I highly recommend you download it for yourself and play through it yourself. If you don't want to do all of the reading and work of reading it yourself, all of my previous readings are on my YouTube. For my YouTube, I have a playlist for Magium. Which, if you're watching this recording, that means that you know that because you're watching my playthrough or my recording. But anyways, now I'm going to end the recording, but I'm not going to end the stream quite yet. So, thank you everyone for listening. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day or night.